everyone, Wheelie here. Today we're starting in Temecula wine country and taking one of Southern California's most scenic and historic back roads, Pala Temecula Road. This winding two-lane route isn't just a shortcut between these two valleys. It's a journey through over 200 years of California history. And the best part, it's mostly downhill from here. Pala Temecula Road is what locals call a hidden gem. 7 miles of winding backcountry that cuts through some of the most beautiful landscape in North San Diego County. Originally, this was the only direct route between these two communities. These days, most people take the 15, but riders like us, well, we know better. The road has been connecting these two valleys for well over a century, and today we're riding it the fun way, starting high in wine country and cruising downhill into the historic Pala Valley. Most people don't realize that Temecula's wine history goes back to the 1840s. In 1843, Mission San Luis Rey granted land here that included 150 stocks of vines. By 1846, a French vintner named Jean-Louis Vignier, already established in Los Angeles, recognized this area as prime vineyard land and bought property here. But the modern Temecula wine story, that started in 1968, when Vincenzo and Audrey Salurzo planted the first commercial vineyard. They were pioneers. In the 1960s, Temecula was just a tiny community, maybe 200 people. Most thought they were crazy planting wine grapes here. They weren't crazy, they were visionaries. The Kaiser Land Development Company recognized the potential too, and by the late 60s and early 70s, this valley was being transformed. Today, nearly 50 wineries covering over 33,000 acres. Temecula grew from 200 residents in 1970 to over 114,000 today. It's now one of California's premier wine destinations. As we wind our way downhill, this road is taking us through what was once vast ranch land. In the 1800s, after California became a state and the mission lands were secularized, this entire area was carved up into Mexican and Spanish land grants. You can still see some of the old ranches and homes along this route, properties that date back to the early 1900s, built by families with names like Escalera, Borel, French immigrants who came here because these rolling hills reminded them of home. And those French settlers, they weren't just ranchers, they brought something else with them. Grapevines. In fact, one of them, Leon Borel, became instrumental in helping establish the modern Temecula wine industry in the 1960s. we're entering territory with a much older story. Pala gets its name from the Luiseño word pale, meaning water. The Luiseño people called this valley home for thousands of years before Spanish missionaries arrived. On June 13, 1860, Father Antonio Peyri founded Mission San Antonio de Pala as an asistencia, a submission, to the larger Mission San Luis Rey down in Oceanside. What makes Pala Mission unique? It's the only mission facility in California that has continuously served a Native American tribe since its founding. Over 200 years of uninterrupted service. You can see that distinctive freestanding bell tower from the road, the only one like it in all the California missions. Legend says Father Peyre planted a prickly pear cactus at the top, at the foot of the cross, to symbolize that Christ would conquer the desert. As we reach the valley floor and approach the 76, we're entering a community of about 600 people, a stark contrast to the 114,000 back in Temecula. This is the Pala Indian Reservation, home to the Pala Band of Mission Indians. These days, Pala Temecula Road has an interesting dynamic. During afternoon rush hour, hundreds of commuters frustrated with the 15 cut through this small community as a shortcut. At 4 p.m. on weekdays, you'll see as many as 25 cars per minute turning onto this road. Right here is the historic Pala store. The Freeman family has run it for generations. It sits just across from the mission, and it's a piece of vintage California that somehow survives despite the Pala Casino Resort being just a football field away. The contrast is striking. On one side, you have this massive modern casino. On the other, a 200-year-old mission and a general store that's been serving the community since the early 1900s. Two different Californias existing side by side. The contrast of this ride is striking. We started in Temecula, over 114,000 people, a thriving wine industry, the massive Pachenga Resort and Casino, and Old Town with its Wild West heritage. And we've ended in Pala, population 600, home to one of California's oldest missions, a place where Spanish colonial history is still alive and active. This 7-mile descent isn't just about the curves or the views, though they're incredible. It's about riding through layers of California history in reverse, from the modern wine renaissance of the 1960s and 70s, back through French immigrant farmers of the early 1900s, through Mexican and Spanish land grant days, all the way to 1816 and the founding of this mission. Every road tells a story. Pala Temecula Road tells several. It's a reminder that Southern California isn't just beaches and freeways. There are these hidden corridors where history, culture, and natural beauty come together. And the best way to experience them? On two wheels, with the wind in your face and history all around you. Plus, going downhill definitely doesn't hurt. If you enjoyed this ride through history, hit that like button and subscribe for more Southern California adventures. Drop a comment below. Have you ridden Pala Temecula Road? Which direction do you prefer? Until next time, keep exploring, keep riding, and remember, the journey is just important as the destination. Ciao!